If like you woke up tomorrow and said, I got a fucking EP with this producer I've been cooking up with this whole week and it's crazy and I'm trying to drop this shit.
Right.
It's not that easy.
Fuck no, bro. I can't even say I want to put this shit on YouTube real quick. Oh, vlog. You know what I'm saying? Because they got my YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I don't even got access to my fucking...
So you don't even have access to your own YouTube?
Fuck no, bro. When I got signed, bro, they take over all your shit. They ask you all these questions like, all right, what's the password to this? Do you ever got an account over here? We need the password to this. You be thinking like, all right, they just gonna have access to it, but they changed your whole shit over. You heard me? You be like, they need to rerouted my money. I don't even get my YouTube checks anymore. What the
So you can't drop a video tomorrow or a vlog? You gotta send it to the label first.
Hell yeah.
What the fuck?
According to French Montana, the rising death toll has prompted record labels to take out life insurance policies on their artists. Speaking to the Off the Record podcast, French Montana speculated that the labels were anticipating a big payday if their artist gets murdered.
And we was beefing for real. Like, people was like dying and this and that, and it was just like, it was blocking a lot of money. People didn't want to touch you. You know what I'm saying? You know, your rap friends, somebody gets shot, your rap friends stop picking up, the label stop picking up. Nah, it gets crazy. You know what I'm saying? It gets crazy. But now it's even crazier because they getting life insurance on artists. At least back then we didn't have that.
Somebody told me that shit.
Yeah.
Is a label signing an artist in good faith if you're taking a life insurance out on him?
No, you praying on his death. You praying on making millions on his death.
Or are they being realistic though?
Both. They're being realistic, and they, you know, you're supposed to have life. You know what I'm saying? Life insurance anyway, but when the label does it, if you don't have one, that's crazy.
At least 20 notable rappers were fatally shot in 2021. Some hometown heroes, others nationally celebrated artists. Young Dolph was gunned down in his hometown of Memphis last November as he went to pick up baked goods for his mother at Makita's Homemade Cookies. Draco the Ruler was stabbed to death backstage at the Once Upon a Time in LA Music Festival right before Christmas, while YG affiliate Slim 400 was shot and killed in Los Angeles just days prior.
French gave me an amazing experience. This is in Miami. French pulled up, and by the way, I looked at French differently that night because I'm still looking at him from the rap lenses, but I'm not realizing how this guy has taken advantage of the opportunity and just like being popular and famous and even, you know, being in these circles. Like, he's cool with these motherfuckers. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like he introduced me to, I think he ran to Larsa Pippen, Serena Williams, like just random people there. It was like, I'm in there like, yo, this gotta be like the closest to the Illuminati I'm gonna get.
It's a level of success where it's a door. It's a door. When you platinum and you getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you could walk in. I'm not sure if it's homo or if it's Illuminati.
We have things that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Latest block, hip hop rumors. Did French Montana get initiated into the Illuminati? And if that is the case, can you bring me in too, fam?
Yeah.
I want in, fam. I need some of this. I need some of this, fam. I need to get in. If there's any offers going, bring me in, baby. I'll sit next to Jay or Ye, I don't care. Bring me in, fam.
Me and Ross had the same conversation.
Is he in the Illuminati as well now?
Nah, he asked me, you know.
He asked you. He asked you if you're in the Illuminati.
Nah, he said if the Illuminati come to your house, I'm gonna let him in and I'm gonna sign right there.
Once you learn it as an artist, that should be like kind of like scary for a label. They be like, damn, this motherfucker asking too many questions.
Right.
Like, we gonna figure it out. They'll try to stall you out, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
no, let me ask you this, P, because a lot of artists are affiliate or assumed to be a part of this secret society, the Illuminati. And they think it exists in the music. People think it exists in the music business, and that urban artists actually are able to participate in this society. Have you experienced anything that leads you to believe there is a secret society that some artists are privy to of certain access that others aren't?
Nah, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No, I don't believe that. I believe that there's definitely a secret society. You know what I mean? I believe definitely maybe some of these label heads, like major labels and like major corporate companies, might have something to do with it, and they, you know, might be involved with the agenda.
But the point what I'm trying to say, whether it's Draco the Ruler, I didn't even know Fireboy DML was on it, Mo3, X, Young Dolph, PNB Rock really was barely on it.
probably did like a song or two, or King Von, Empire doesn't benefit from them. Empire, it's not like, for example, Pop Smoke is signed to Steven Victor. Steven Victor had him in the major label system. Steven Victor's getting the bag off that. Obviously the family too, because you'd be an asshole not to cut the family in, but Empire not really eating off these artists that passed away. And if that's your case, it would be basically saying, yo, iTunes is getting a killing. iTunes gets 30% off any sale, any stream, any transaction on the Apple platform. I think Empire probably takes at max 30% too. So if you're gonna say that Empire's benefiting all these guys' deaths, so is Apple, iTunes.
I spent most of my college years in the Silicon Valley working at streaming companies in the .com era. So late 90s, early 2000s, we were doing a lot of MP3 technology, video compression technology.
Success to me is autonomy. I'm completely in control of my own destiny and completely in control of my own decision making. It's that simple to me.
Ghazi Shami grew up loving hip-hop music and its culture, so much so that he wanted to pursue it professionally, but passing on college was not an option in his family. So he met his parents in the middle and enrolled in an audio program at San Francisco State. After a short-lived attempt to be an artist, and then producer, and then engineer, Ghazi combined his passion for music and his mastery of tech in his brainchild, Empire, a distribution company and record label. Since its launch in 2010, Empire has released a plethora of #1 albums and singles, worked with some of the biggest names in music, and created a new blueprint for independent artists everywhere. And it all started with one idea.
How did your parents' professional life inform your ambitions?
Well, my mom was a homemaker, so she took care of us. Right. My father worked 2 jobs. He had a chemistry job, USDA type stuff. He would start at like 5:30 in the morning, get out of there at like 2:30, and then we owned a coin-operated laundromat. And so he would leave his food job and go to the laundromat, and then he wouldn't get out of there until like 6. It was very regimented. Like, my dad never missed a day of work. My mom never missed a day with us.
What was sort of the catalyst that made you so sort of focused on that?
I'm Palestinian. So it all comes from who I am innately DNA-wise. We're a people with no country and no rights and no voice. So my parents brought me to a country where I could have a voice and have rights. Seeing the struggle in my father's eyes from where he came from and what he had to give up to bring us here was a flame from the time I was like 5 years old.
Was music prevalent in your house as a kid?
Very little. We had a lot of Arabic music in the house.
Okay. You now have a studio. You're slowly paying off this debt.
That was my night job.
Okay.
So my day job was Silicon Valley. I was doing everything from building computers to media servers to compressing audio and video and streaming music videos. I was able to transition to bigger companies, bigger salaries.
Is it hard to keep up with the volume?
That's why we're a distributor and a label. At one point in time, the company was 100% distributor, and then over a period of time became half distributor, half label. And I would have to say at this point, we're primarily a label, but we're a label that owns its own distribution platform.
I'm play devil's advocate again. Critics say, yeah, but you're being pimped. You're being pimped by the record executives who will allow you to do your thug life because it portrays a certain black. I mean, you've heard it, that if you were just a singer, you wouldn't have the same record contracts you have. Right. But because you portray the thug life, the gangster rap, they've allowed you to make that money. They've allowed you to push and make you.
You know, everybody's getting pimped. Whether you work a 9 to 5 or whether you work for yourself, you're getting pimped by somebody. That's not the crime. The crime is how long you allow yourself to get pimped. You have to come up. Everything is a come up. Everything is a struggle. You start from the bottom, work.
But when Tupac was in jail, he was in a desperate situation, and like I said, he was signed with Interscope, if you remember. So when they went to get Tupac out of jail, if you look at that, it wasn't a contract that he signed. That was like a deal memorandum, if you will. And it was deal points as to what would be included in a contract had he signed with Death Row, and they actually wrote up a contract, and that was supposed to be in it, and that was the language in the agreement. But the first thing that he had signed was, it was a letter to Interscope, basically explaining that David Kenner and Suge Knight would be respectively Tupac's lawyer, David Kenner and Suge Knight would be his manager, letting Interscope know this, right? Now, at that time, Tupac signed to Interscope. So first and foremost, you would need to void out the Interscope contract in order for Tupac to sign with Death Row. And so when you see and look at that contract, that's not what happened. So basically, it was a tentative agreement on what Death Row and Suge Knight was supposed to do. But first and foremost, it was ripe with a conflict of interest. And the conflict of interest is this. David Kenner was Suge Knight's lawyer, and David Kenner was also the lawyer for Death Row. And then he would now be acting as the lawyer for Tupac. So if there were anything to go on, how would anybody's rights, mainly Tupac's rights, be protected? They couldn't be. There was a conflict of interest. Who are you going to look out for? The label and the CEO? Or are you going to look out for the artist? And so that in itself should let people know that Tupac really wasn't signed to Death Row, because under the legal ethics, David Kenner couldn't represent Tupac or be his lawyer. You know, ethically, he couldn't do that, but it happened anyway. And so when Tupac gets out of jail, they were supposed to give him a contract, and Tupac was on Death Row for about, I would say 10 and a half, almost 11 months. And there was never a contract written up. So now, when Tupac dies, right, when he gets killed, and his mother, Afeni, rest her soul, before they were trying to release the Machiavelli album. And them trying to release the Machiavelli album, Afeni actually put a cease and desist order, basically saying that they couldn't release the album. And so who comes up and steps up to the table? Because at this particular time, Suge is in jail for the thing that happened in Vegas. You know what I mean? For the violation. So he's in jail. Nobody from Death Row stepped up to go and remedy the situation as far as, you know, Tupac being signed to Death Row, because there was no contract. What could you do? There was no accounting. There was none of those things that normally would be in a contract where Tupac and his rights would be represented. So now, who steps up? Who steps up? I'm asking you. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay, Jimmy Iovine. So Jimmy Iovine steps up, right? Because basically, who is Death Row distributed by? Interscope.
From recording engineer to record producer to label executive to headphone magnate to streaming gladiator, Jimmy Iovine changed the music we listen to and then changed how we listen to music. This is his blueprint. When you started Interscope, did you have sort of a specific space in mind that you were going to fill, that you saw that there was an opportunity?
Yes, we wanted to feel like Atlantic in 1970, Atlantic Records, where they had Ray Charles, Aretha Franklin, Led Zeppelin, and the Rolling Stones.